Recording. Okay. So I guess I'm first. Yeah, this is a lot of police are using these AI, and this is of course a big deal because people believe this AI is magic and it really isn't. And so now apparently when they decide whether to give you parole and how often you have to check with the parole officer, they're doing it with algorithms. So the problem is, of course, these algorithms are proprietary and secret and you never find out why. And like so many law enforcement things, there's two sides here. They, of course, don't want to tell you what the rules are, or then you could game it. But the other thing is they're usually spectacularly biased and inaccurate and stuff. So anyway, it's good that some transparency is appearing for this stuff. Anyway, that's I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that, but
it's pretty interesting. I mean, I think that's going to be more and more of an issue as time goes by and we automate a lot more stuff. You know, there was just one of the stories I sort of debated including was that there was a big meeting this week about the use of facial recognition, and a bunch of legislators were arguing over its use in airports and the fact that there are a lot of known flaws in that system. And I don't know, just conceptually, I think that it's going to be something that we're dealing with more and more
yes.
coming decade.
Yeah, I think so. And you got the one here that I've seen so many articles about, the Chinese hackers.
Yeah, and the reason that I picked this specific article, I guess one of the biggest things that stood out to me on this is they did it with freaking SQL injection. I mean, come on. Like this is some of the most basic of basic level stuff here, and this, you know, it's convenient that we can blame it on Chinese nation state hackers, but you know, what about the guys that left all of our info open to such a basic level of attack?
Yeah, it's the same thing. And I mean, I gave this to my students for homework at the time. I mean, it's a known vuln. It's easy to exploit. This is the same thing that's going to be happening in City College soon because we're moving to Drupal, and Drupal has a whole series of these. It's
oh no.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. I mean,
I hadn't read that it was a lie.
What's that?
I remember hearing about it's the 4 Chinese hackers. I didn't hear the part about it being SQLi.
Yeah, I knew it was struts. It was just a known vulnerability.
Yeah, that was struts. Yep.
Yeah, pretty easy to set up too. That's one of those many advanced web page things I could in principle be using that I haven't been using. But anyway. All right, and then we got, I saw this one. This hacking team hacked a lot of people. OurMine.
Yeah, they used a third party. They used Kronos, I believe.
Oh, that's one of those things you connect to your account?
Yeah, it's a marketing platform used
Oh.
for social media communication. So they went through a third party and got to those two.
I didn't know that. That's good to know. I went to their webpage. They have ourmine.org, and it just looked like standard script kiddie stuff. For $30,
Yeah.
It'll scan your social media platforms for vulnerabilities or something.
I think that just yeah, they used Twitter until their API would return. They could bomb it via this third-party platform with requests, essentially like you would if you were looking for your contacts out of your phone. And they were able to like bomb the API and get the info back easily. So I guess they closed that hole up in there.
So what's
API.
this brute force attack where they try 1 million passwords or what?
Well, essentially, but it was either, I believe it was via phone numbers, or it was, I can't remember if they hit it with phone numbers or screen names. I think it was phone numbers and then got the associated account info.
But they wouldn't get the password that way.
If they had not set up, if Facebook had not set up two-factor authentication, which I don't think they did, I think it was an account takeover situation.
I'd like to know how that works because I still don't understand how they get the password.
Well, you could reset, you could do a reset.
Without,
Essentially.
without any kind of security question or anything?
Depends on depends on how it's set up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, especially because at least with this was a third party,
Yeah.
so they could bypass some of that stuff.
A side channel. Yeah, okay. That's a pretty common one. Yeah, all right. That would be worth money if they turn it in as a bug bounty. Anyway, this one from Microsoft I thought was pretty amazing. So Google is now breaking Gmail in Edge, and apparently they've been doing this for years, so that every time Microsoft updates Edge, they have to alter the user agent so that Google services will not recognize it anymore as Edge and break everything. And this is what got Microsoft in trouble with their monopoly power when they started deliberately messing up other companies on Windows. So if we get a Democrat and they start trying to bake up the tech companies, I think this will feature in the antitrust lawsuits against Google. Although that doesn't look terribly likely. But anyway, it's they actually, Google sniff Microsoft Edge, and then they alter characters so that the fancy Unicode characters that Microsoft loves all turn into underscores, so it breaks everything. Which it sounds like their response to the same thing that irritates me all the time, which is that my plain old HTML can't handle the stupid curly quotes and stuff. And Google seems to have the same impatience with them that I do. Unless you think they're deliberately breaking Microsoft Edge, which is certainly possible too. Anyway.
I would say it's deliberate.
What's that?
I said I would say it's deliberate.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought so. They're the kind of propeller heads I am that just would have like plain ASCII and say, why would you ever use anything else? What's wrong with you anyway?
I feel like users who are stuck with Edge have bigger problems than not being able to read their Gmail, like having to use Edge every day.
Yeah.
Well, but I think there's like a difference between the business world where they want everything to look pretty and the Unix world where you just want the facts. Anyway, it's an interesting issue. And I did not know that Microsoft had already been putting in workarounds to avoid Google's restrictions, but apparently they have. Anyway, Emotet here.
Yeah, I thought this is sort of the ongoing saga that's been all over the news, but I thought this article is interesting just because they discovered that a new way that it's propagating, which is actually kind of clever. Essentially, they can brute force. There's a script that runs once an infected machine fires up that basically brute forces any nearby Wi-Fi networks that have weak passwords. And then they can brute force onto the network and then go ahead and infect all the next.
Looks like we lost you, Liz, or maybe it's just me. Everybody's frozen up except me. It's probably this City College network.
Your Wi-Fi.
It's probably my Wi-Fi. Okay, now you guys are back. Okay. Yeah, it's undoubtedly the City College network. I don't think we can do anything about it. Anyway, Liz, it sort of froze up on you.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying I thought that was pretty cool. Essentially, the way that this works is it runs a script that attempts to brute force any nearby Wi-Fi networks. And if they've got weak passwords, then the infected machine can join the weakly protected network and then spread these nasties to a whole new round of machines. And it's a kind of a cool feature that they put in there.
So once you get on an infected machine, I mean, once you get in the Wi-Fi, then what do you do? How do you benefit from that? You have to find a weak network share also, right?
Yes, yeah, and I mean there are plenty of those out there.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, and I wonder, is there a hacking tool we can give our students in like 123, the hacking class, where they practice brute forcing Wi-Fi passwords? I haven't seen that, but that sounds like a simple tool to write.
I mean, there are tools that are built in even to Kali, but it's just they're so slow.
CalPatty.
I haven't found out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just haven't figured out a way to turn that into a quick completion project.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It sounds like a fun thing. Maybe I'll look into it. Anyway.
You can totally do it. It just takes hours and hours unless there's some really awesome fast tools that I don't know about.
Yeah, well, that seems like you could write a multi-threaded fast one, like
Yeah.
like Hydra. Maybe
Sure.
somebody has. All right, and I saw this one. They downloaded tools over Starbucks.
Yeah,
Whoa.
there's a case going on between the CIA and the FBI and Vault 7 and 8. And what this article kind of points out is that the FBI went to a Starbucks to download Vault 7 and 8, which is like 1.4 gigabytes worth of data.
Yeah, that was WikiLeaks, I think.
Yeah, from WikiLeaks.
Which is basically from the Russians then, because WikiLeaks is basically a branch of the Russians. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was the CIA tools. This was this the same CIA dump from shadow brokers?
I want to say it is.
Yeah, or a similar thing. Anyway, yep.
Yeah.
I don't think you can download 1.4 gigs at Starbucks anymore, but I guess you could at this time.
Yeah.
You can't now?
Well, a lot of the coffee houses I go to seem to have throttled the bandwidth.
Ah.
But I don't go to Starbucks that much, so maybe you can still do it at Starbucks. All right, and this I thought was awesome.
Because I was.
Yeah. Wait, I skipped one. No, I didn't. Good.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so this I thought is awesome. We finally get a better version of Google Glasses that shines the light right on your retina and puts the image right there, so it goes right through your cornea and everything. It's always in focus, and it draws little text things like this in the corner of your eye, so you can read things. This is the new hotness. It's not for sale yet. It's a prototype, but it seems like a big step forward, and it's not quite as obvious as Google Glass and so on. This is getting close to the Google Brain chip. We're not quite there yet, but painting the image directly on your retina seems really like a step forward to me.
Plus, there was those MIT students a couple years ago that developed the thing that goes on your face where you can essentially silently speak words and then you search the internet with them.
Oh, I've seen that in science fiction for years, but I didn't know anybody ever got it working.
No, those crazy MIT people did it for real.
So read your lips or something?
Yeah, I think it uses like the muscles in your face, maybe. But it's actually pretty cool. Combined with this, it's getting real futuristic here.
You know, already the new earbuds that Apple has have doing to me again what happened to me 10 years ago. There's people wandering around loudly talking to nobody everywhere I go. It's like everybody's insane. And this would amplify it even more. Anyway.
Well, yeah, I was at a Facebook developer conference a couple years ago, and they were talking about how they're working on their direct to face. So, ones attempting to perfect that.
Well, you broke up again. Facebook's direct to what?
They're working on a direct to brain interface.
Do they have to drill through your skull and put in electrodes?
I guess so. I don't know. I'm like, I don't even want the app on my phone, so I don't know how that's going to work. But, in some ways,
the surgery part.
It does present some cool. Yeah, it does present some cool prospects, but also some really terrifying ones. So
the one I've been waiting for 50 years for is the wireheads. They did it with rats. I would think it's a better drug. You stick an electrode in your pleasure center and then you zap yourself. And this should be better than heroin. And I'm amazed it never happened yet. People do so many stupid things. You would think somebody would do it, but somehow it never became popular.
I could see how there might be some issues with that.
But there's people that use heroin and stuff. They obviously don't care about their health. If it was fun, they would do it. And it would be cheaper than heroin in the long run, right? Implant it, and then you don't have to keep paying for heroin. You just get batteries. I could market it. I could get rich.
They might have had some trouble getting like FDA approval or something.
Well, that's why you sell it illegally.
Sure. There you go.
You could, tattoo parlors could do it. The ancient Egyptians did brain surgery. You don't need like fancy tools or sanitation or anything, really. I'm surprised it's never caught on. The whole world is missing out. Anyway, so what's this one? Selling access to an MSP?
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting story, I thought. Pretty good read, actually. So this guy working for a managed security services provider in Atlanta essentially got on the dark web and was like, okay, I'm selling access to all these companies through here, and then a few different companies banded together to stop him and track him down and turn him in, because they're like, we can't.
I'm surprised if this is new. I thought this was something known for a long time, that you could buy access to every major company. Oh, I can't hear Liz again.
Oh yeah, I can't hear her either.
Okay, so this must be her and not me. The last time was me. You know, it's too bad we live in a third world country without any actual working internet. Yeah, it looks like her.
That started becoming a real common thing. It made me want. I know.
Liz, you totally garbled up for about a minute there. Yep, now she's gone entirely. Okay, so it's definitely her. Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know. Zoom just crashed. So.
Yeah. Well, give it another shot. We lost about 30 seconds of you there.
Yeah, no, I just thought this was interesting. I don't think it's a new thing, but it did make me think about how, I once heard a statistic from a prosecutor who said, when we catch somebody and haul them into court for doing a criminal act, usually, we just caught them one time. They've probably done it 10 times or 100 times and not gotten caught.
Oh, yeah.
And this made me think of that.
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely true. Looking at the trouble we have with Zoom, I wonder how lousy my classes over Zoom are. I wonder if all the students have garbled and broken audio. They haven't been complaining, but it seems like it might be. Anyway. All right, and so we got Landry's Restaurant.
Yeah, they're the parent company of things like Bubblegum Shrimp and Morton's and Rainforest Cafe. Through their POS system has been breached.
I saw this story. I thought it was really good. I mean, this is a massive restaurant conglomerate.
Oh,
they've got
I've never heard of any of these.
60 something different brands.
Yeah, if you go down to the bottom, they have all their brands.
I don't think I've ever heard of any of these. Maybe they're East Coast or something.
No, Morton's, Rainforest, and Bubba Gump are here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they don't tell us what the POS system was.
Right.
Okay, because this is like what happened to Target. Those POS systems tend to be really
that was my first thought. This is very similar to Target.
Yep, and well, yeah. But in a way, I wonder how much this matters, because everybody's credit card number has been stolen about 10 times over, and the credit card companies are good at detecting suspicious transactions. And that's pretty much the only security you really have anyway. So maybe it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
That's really seems to be what it comes down to now, is the credit card companies and the banks. And it's interesting to me that they're not more aggressive about prosecuting it when they find it.
Yeah, I don't know how the prosecution goes. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah. For all our credit card companies have to be on guard.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. I think I'm going to stop the recording.
They don't seem to care. I think.
Yeah. Little pieces of Liz are coming through, and then she freezes up again. I think.
Right.
I think we've got serious problems with our internet that are kind of impairing this activity. And now you're back again. It's weird.
Well, I'm gonna have to. I have some ideas. I'm gonna
Nope.
have to
Can't understand anything you say. It's all just
some
broken up.
tinkering with antennas this week.
You said something about an antenna. That's the only word that came through. Anyway, I'm going
Oh
to
no!
stop.
I'm gonna have to do some tinkering with antennas this week.
Yeah, I think you have a particularly bad internet. I know mine is terrible because it's City College. Irvin's by far the best. Anyway, all right, I'm going to stop the recording and hopefully we can get a better connection next week.